Greetings and welcome back, gentles and ladiesmen, to another fan-frickin-tabulous episode of Exo and Ryrule play Sonic Adventure. I'm Michael.
I'm Discount Haydox.
Okay, so full disclosure, we are recording this before Gamma, at the moment, because we're doing Gamma with Haydox, and he ended up having a last-minute scheduling conflict he had to resolve.
Spoilers!
So while the Gamma parts will be going up before this, we are actually recording this beforehand. And normally, Ryan's advice is to play Tails last. And the reason for that is that Tails' campaign is 90% similar to Sonic's. There are only a few deviations, and it's maybe the slightest bit shorter. Well, I say that, but Sonic took me 2.5 hours on this playthrough with all the NPCs and stuff, whereas Tails, I think, only took me maybe an hour and a half.
Hour, 24 minutes, 54 seconds.
Yeah, which is obviously over an hour shorter than Sonic's campaign, so I don't know. I think it's because when they get split up, Sonic goes to 3 levels, whereas Tails plays a minigame in that time.
Everything's working great.
So that probably accounts for the difference.
Full speed ahead.
So by the time it takes Sonic to go through 3 levels, Tails can go through a little snowboarding section and call it a day.
Well, he also had to build the Tornado 2 in that time, so maybe that helps account for the time difference.
Also, maybe Tails got knocked out.
Yeah.
Because remember, he falls down the plane crashes. Maybe he hit his head on a rock.
Mayday! Going down!
Yeah.
Fucking.
This cutscene is so silly. Just look at him wagging his head back and forth like a dog. I suppose foxes are technically canines, but...
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, but the point is that there is a lot of overlap between Sonic and Tails' story, which means that if you are playing them back to back, it's especially here where you can't skip the cutscenes, it is going to be very repetitive.
Hey.
That was really well timed, my friend. So, and usually I do play Tails directly after Sonic because, I don't know, frankly, he's more fun to play as than most of the other characters. But what that means is you're getting a double dose of the same sequence of cutscenes pretty much back to back, which does not help this game's case in terms of my overarching point since this playthrough about it being repetitive and slow-moving and kind of boring and having pacing issues. So, for this playthrough, I decided to take Ryan's advice and save Tails for later on. Now, obviously, the downside of that is that it means I have to play stuff like Big and Amy sooner than I would usually play them. But on the plus side, it means that there's some passage of time before you have to watch all of this sequence of cutscenes again. So it's kind of, I don't know, you pick your poison on that one, but...
Again, it doesn't fix the issue, but it does soften the blow.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, so pretty much everything that happens in Sonic's campaign happens here. But there are some differences, because like I said, this game is very postmodern. And what I mean by postmodern, it's a very complicated school of thought and art and science. But,
it's ahead of its time.
Well, what it means is it's, pre-modern thought philosophy is essentially the idea that we just know everything already and tradition has already decided it and you can't question it. Modern thought, modern philosophy, or positivist philosophy is what we know is based on evidence and, you have to have proof for what you're talking about, and you have to be able to analyze it rationally to be able to know something. Whereas postmodernism is essentially takes it a step further and says that it's basically incredibly subjective. Basically, the idea that everything could be interpreted differently by a different person just because everybody sees the world differently. And I'm greatly simplifying this, but so Sonic Adventure is postmodernist in the sense that each character, the dialogue changes depending on who you play, and certain characters appear differently. Like, Eggman is probably the most menacing in Tails' campaign compared to the others. Like in Sonic's campaign, or Knuckles' campaign, he's treated like a joke, pretty much. Like, you can't really take him seriously for the most part, but in Tails' campaign, he's really gruff, and he says some pretty threatening things at times. And the idea that's postmodernist in the sense that Tails views him as threatening and scary, and so his dialogue changes to reflect that.
Yeah.
Art can also be, media can also be postmodernist in the sense that it kind of pokes fun at itself. Like Deadpool is very postmodernist in that sense, because it's kind of making fun of superhero cliches and often makes references to the writers who made the movie and stuff like that. So yeah, very complicated school of thought, but yeah. So we'll be seeing more of how Tails views Eggman and how he views Sonic. And that's one of the reasons, like, why when we did Amy, I was talking about how you think they'd make, Sonic super sexy, or just seem like he's always in control and just the handsome motherfucker, so that you can, because from Amy's perspective, that's what he is.
Yeah.
Or at least
or maybe
give him the
Sonic
same.
is like the biggest tsundere out there. It's like, it's not like I like you, Baka.
Yeah, you'd think they'd do that because, that's kind of the angle they go with Tails. And, for the record, I do think that changing the cutscenes, even making character interactions come off in a different way based on who you're playing as is an interesting idea. Because like I've been saying throughout this playthrough, Sonic Adventure has a lot of really interesting ideas. But, it's kind of the execution, how that's aged, that kind of, undercuts a lot of what it's trying to do.
Yeah.
But, yeah. At least they tried to make it more interesting, because, with Sonic 06, you literally just rewatch a lot of the same cutscenes again.
And it's note for note, like the same.
Yeah. And technically SA2 is like that too, but there are relatively few cutscenes you have to rewatch.
Yeah.
The most you have to see.
There it is. I love that line. I am Dr. Robotnik.
Yeah, so like as you can see, he's yelling a lot more. He's gruffer. Whereas in the Knuckles playthrough, he was like, "First come, first served," they say. "And you serve me too well for your own good."
Well, okay, Neocortex. Reel it back a little bit.
"Crash, they're going to destroy our beautiful island home, humiliate and enslave you, and steal my brain."
That's what? Twin Sanity?
Yeah.
Real talk. Is that game any good? Because it looks pretty damn good.
Yeah, I like it, actually. I think it's I haven't finished it, but I think it's my favorite Crash game.
Duly noted. That's PS2 and Xbox, right?
Yeah, but
Gotcha.
I played on the Xbox for obvious reasons.
Obvious reasons?
Because the PS2 one is only 480i.
Oh, you're gonna You're gonna love the video I've been working on when it comes out.
The least you could do is get a FrameMeister to deinterlace it for you, Brian.
Nah, too much work.
Because I'm preparing for think I'll probably skip over SA2 and do Sonic Heroes.
Do that next.
Next in terms of Sonic games on the playthrough channel.
Okay.
And when I do I'm gonna show off all 4 versions of the game for each team.
Oh, you're gonna have fun with the PS2 version.
Yeah, the PS2 one, I'm probably just gonna pump it through the FrameMeister.
You should no. You need to do it raw, and you need to do Team Dark.
So what you're telling me to do is you want the static mesh deinterlacing, where it shows like the previous field and the current field simultaneously.
Sure.
And well, that is what interlacing looks like. But it also makes me want to throw up in my mouth when I look at it. So the FrameMeister has this special motion adaptive deinterlacing, which sort of combines the best aspects of bobbing and blending to best predict where that other field would be in a progressive image. And it gets pretty close to looking like progressive, but there's still, every once in a while you get comb teeth in areas of high motion.
Ooh, that frame rate though.
That was just too easy.
I don't know what's going on here.
Gotcha.
I recorded this in 30, so I don't know what the deal is.
Did it look like that on your TV, or was it just, well, was it post-recording?
You know, I don't know. Sometimes I wonder, because like, because even though the game runs in 30, the refresh rate is still 60. So sometimes I feel like because I record in 30, things that would look smoother with the 60 refresh rate look choppier in a 30 FPS recording. It's difficult to explain, but yeah.
No, I also want to bring up, like before when they were getting ready to fight Eggman. It's the part where Sonic goes, "Or else what, you big loser?" At that point, it was Tails who was going, "Or else what? Huh?" It's like, Tails, what the hell are you gonna do?
No, it's... You might appreciate this, Ryan, but my life has gotten to the point where whenever I think, "oh yes," in my head or say it out loud, I just instinctually say, "just as the stone tablets predicted."
We can't let that monster get in.
Okay, I'm gonna take off a filter. What if you're like getting down and dirty and then you go, "Oh yes, just as the stone tablets predicted." The person would be so confused.
Well,
that just goes to show where my mind goes.
You know, knowing my taste, person would probably also be a Sonic fan, or would at least be a gamer. You know.
See, here's the thing: if it's with a Sonic fan and he knows exactly, or they know exactly what you're talking about, there you go. You found the one. You did it.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, I'm crying a little bit.
It's like, as I orgasm, I say, "this isn't even my final form."
Now with all the 7 Chaos Emeralds,
You'll be invincible and work for me.
Oh, God. So that was fun.
That's where our commentary has gotten at this juncture, folks. They're just discussions of explicit sexual acts, and I thought Sonic and sex only mixed in Sonic High School.
No, also that one time in that Knuckles part where he put his wiener in Sonic's mouth while he was sleeping.
Oh God, yeah, the Crash and Bash abridged series.
Yeah. Oh, please tell me you break this level like a Kit Kat bar.
Well, it depends on how you define that exactly, but I do try some speedrunning tactics.
You're kind of doing it. You're kind of doing it. Oh, what are you doing?
Yeah, and the camera's fucked up.
You know, and also, I do want to point out that people say that Tails is broken because you can break the levels in half. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's a fair point, but at the same time, you kind of have to know what you're doing. You know, like, you can't just, like, jump off, hold left, because you can hit a dead zone, and then you'll die.
Well, and in defense, in this game's defense, I mean, it's kind of like that in the 2D games, too. Which is why I generally don't play as Tails all that often in the 2D games.
I just think
what
his
is
gameplay...
going on with...
Huh?
Yeah, my video playback is getting weird here. I don't know what's going on.
Mine's going fine. Mine's going just fine. I don't know.
Yeah. Just a little shop talk for you guys. I'm doing some multitasking right now, so maybe that's part of the problem. It's I'm rendering the supersonic RAW right now and uploading it to Google Drive while Ryan and I are recording this because I don't know. I'm just hoping to get all the playthrough recorded so that I can go full on Zebros and stuff. Eric's been waiting on me.
You've been doing Zebros again?
Yeah, we're gonna do more Zebros soon.
Really?
But I'm just trying to wrap up what I've got going on this channel so that I don't have to edit for both of them at once.
Uh-huh. Is that gonna go on this channel, or is it gonna go on what?
As far as I know, we're gonna do it on Game Mavericks, but I might just do it here instead, since, you know, people are watching this more actively.
Is Game Mavericks still a thing?
Not the Ethan, Alonzo, and me group. Not really anymore, because we're split up. You could probably do post stuff if we wanted, but I have been uploading a Zebros playthrough on there every once in a while, whenever we get a chance to record them.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, like we're doing a Kirby's Return to Dreamland right now.
That's the Wii game, right?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Station Square will be departing soon.
Yeah, speaking of which, I can't wait till the Wii HDMI mod comes out, so I can start, so I can get that quality going.
Why don't you just use a Wii U?
It screws up the colors and it doesn't upscale it the best way.
Okay.
Like the greens don't look right, and you know, I like to be able to I like that perfect pixel jaggy look for my 480p games, like, you know, what the footage for this playthrough looks like in the final episodes. Mm-hmm. And I want to get that going on the Wii, but with the Wii U, it does bilinear interpolation to blur out the image and get rid of the jaggies, and I don't like that. You do technically get HDMI from that, but, you know.
It kind of does the same thing with, like, the Virtual Console games, too, right?
Depends on the console.
Because I remember someone said something about the Game Boy Advance games looking dark, and then you were saying that Paper Mario looks dark on it.
Yeah, that's the gamma, no pun intended, on the games. Like, apparently that was done for seizure reasons. Like, apparently the games were too bright, so it would cause seizures. So that's what I heard from Metropolis Zone, but I don't know if that's true or not. Yeah, but SNES and N64 games look really dark, but in terms of, like, the pixel aspect ratio and keeping them legitimately sharp, SNES games look fine, but NES games on Virtual Console just look terrible. Like, the worst. I don't know what they were thinking, but they look like complete garbage on Wii U.
I mean, if I'm being honest, I mean, I don't mean to sound like some sort of elitist, but I honestly don't know why people still buy NES games on, like, on like the eShop or anything. I don't get it.
I know.
It's like you could play that shit on your phone.
I will say I have an RGB modded top loader NES, and I played some Castlevania on my PVM, and it looked pretty great on it actually.
So, that I can understand, because there, you got the actual cartridge right there, and you're playing on on an authentic NES. It's re-release of an NES, but it's still like an NES.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. I don't really see the point in playing NES games on Wii or Wii U or 3DS for that matter.
Some people don't have the original hardware, because NES carts are expensive as crack.
That's what a flash cart is for.
Yeah, but you gotta import those from the Czech Republic.
What?
The manufacturer that makes the EverDrives, I think, is located somewhere in Eastern Europe.
Oh shit! I just bought my stuff on eBay.
Well, there are many different kinds of flash carts. There are the cheapo ones that have some limitations, usually you have to patch the saves or something, or you have to wait maybe up to a minute for it to load. But the EverDrives are a lot nicer. You can pretty much hold the whole library of a system in the one flash cart all at once. Load times are nearly non-existent. And usually they contain, if there's a special extra chip that would have been in the cartridge, how Mario Kart has the flat planes and stuff that required a special, I think, Super CIC chip. And so the Super EverDrive includes chips like that, including I think even the Super Effects chips for
nope.
No?
From what I understand, no. I watched,
okay.
You watched the channel My Life in Gaming?
Yeah. Every once in a while.
Yeah, they did one on, they did an episode on flash carts, and they were talking about how you can't play games like Star Fox or Yoshi's Island or Mega Man X2.
Yeah.
You can't play games like that because of the chip that's
Actually, I
inside.
think Mega Man, they did actually get the Mega Man X2 and X3, I can't remember what the chip is called. I think it's the CX4 chip or something like that. I think that is actually included in the latest model of Super EverDrive.
How much is that,
But
though?
I think it is relatively expensive, and they only take credit cards, which annoys me. Because they're an international seller. I don't know why I can't pay with my debit card, because I prefer to spend money I have than spend money I don't have and then pay interest on top of that.
Too bad.
Right.
But yeah, and they're in the Czech Republic. And from my experience, unless if you're buying from Retro Gaming Cables in the UK, importing something from Europe takes way too long. I can get a set of SCART cables from retrogamingcables.co.uk in about a week and a half. But I got the Sonic Forces CD soundtrack from the French record label that published it internationally in English, and it took 3 weeks to get here for some reason. Because I'm sure they paid for the cheapest possible ship. I forgot to put the fart in there. I'll have to do that in post.
I love Tails' voice in